Okay. We have an interesting live stream today. It's about famous people in Noah's family tree. Because I was searching for, ancient people or whatever, and a lot of people don't know who these ancient people are or were or anything like that. So I figured, well, might as well get somebody that people can relate to, people that we can know. So here we go. Let's get right to the video here. Put myself over here and we'll go. Okay. So we have Noah as number one. I took out the number thing because it was messing up stuff. But anyways, what do we got here? J2M and Judah only. Okay, this is just, never mind. That's just Grok talking. So we have here IJK Root of L15. This L15 with an A allele. Don't worry too much about this. It lists Grok put Thomas Edison and Charles Darwin. All this means here, this L15, everyone is under this designation. L15, I don't even know why it's even mentioned, but Grok keeps on bringing it up for some reason, even though everybody has it. So whatever, that's why Thomas Edison is there and Charles Darwin. They're both inferred. Well, of course they're, because it belongs to everybody. Anyways, we got SHEM as the Basal M89G allele and the M9C allele. If you've been following, you know that means that makes a difference. It distinguishes SHEM from both Japheth and Ham, because Ham's got a different allele down here and Japheth's got a different allele here. As we can see right here, Japheth is a M89G and M9G. Well, according to this time, it seems like the alleles are always changing, but the point is that it's different. It's different in Japheth and it's different in Ham than it is in the rest of it. Okay, so this is a, I don't know what this DE, never mind this DE. This Ham is A, B, C, D, and E. That's all of Ham's descendants. Of course, with C being Nimrod. Nimrod is right in the middle of the Hamitic lineage. So you can't say, no, it doesn't belong there. So absolutely does belong right in the middle of the Hamitic lineage. So now this is really very interesting. This gets interesting because it, highlights who is who, basically. Not everybody, of course, but just a few people of who's who. We got J.R.R. Tolkien. This is inferred. Winston Churchill is inferred. M89G. Well, wait a minute. What was Japheth? That was G2, wasn't it? Grok doesn't know what he's talking about half the time. So, yeah, M89G. No, this is wrong. Because it's not this. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry about that. This is right. This changes in Ham. The M89 changes in Ham. It doesn't change in Japheth. What changes is the M9 in Japheth. So the M9 changes in Japheth. The M89 changes in Ham. So here we go. I'm having issues again with my computer working whenever I zoom in for some reason. Guess it's got to work on it, think about it, whatever. Anyway, you can appreciate, you can see some of these people. This is Vladimir Lenin. This is Basal, M420. ARPHAXAD is Basal, so this is not an S&P. This is just the allele. M429G, inferred for whatever reason. And for whatever reason, he's got Vladimir Lenin here as a descendant of ARPHAXAD in one way or another. Could be by way of Joktan, could be by way of just about anybody. Elam or Esau, not Elam. Yeah, no. Elam is the brother of ARPHAXAD, but Esau, Joktan or whoever, or Eber or whatever. That's Vladimir Lenin. So I don't know what quality test this was done on Vladimir Lenin, if one was done at all, but it's inferred here. Albert Camus, whoever that is. Woodrow Wilson. Now here we go. He's got an M267G. Well, I wish this thing would work better. I don't know why this is here. But anyway, Woodrow Wilson and John F. Kennedy both have M267 with a G allele. And for whatever reason, Grok put them under PELEG. But now we have Abraham here. Here's Abraham. And of course, Abraham, Israel, and the 12 tribes. Levi is a P58, J1 P58, which is Jonas, Salk, David Ben-Gurion, Golda, Meir, and many other people, of course, have the J1 P58 lineage. Of course, Golda Meir has to be her father. Her father's lineage is J1 P58, of course. Then for Dan, we got Larry Bird. So I'm in good company here with Larry Bird and Warren Buffett, both of which are I1 M253 in the old haplogroup designation. Alexander Hamilton. Oh, I got to check up on Alexander Hamilton. He's at I1 M253 too. And we got Asher, which is I2 instead of I1. Leo Tolstoy. And Jesse James. Jesse James is descended from Asher. Francis Amasa Walker, if anybody knows who that is. Of course, didn't ever study history that much, so some of these people, of course, I wouldn't know. And then we come to the J2. This is J2 only the M172, which to me is not only Judaic, but probably Davidic. We got Theodor Herzl, M172. David Sarnoff, M172. Louis B, who somehow they got cut off. Got cut off somehow. Oh, no, it's just that it's not scrolling properly. Okay. Other tribes. this would be a J1, J2 mix. It says Menachem Begin, but actually it has Menachem Begin as a J2 M47, just like Adam Sandler and Jerry Seinfeld. Of course, I don't know why this thing. There it is, Jerry Seinfeld. There we go. See, Menachem Begin is J2 M67, not 47. M67. And we got Bernie Sanders. J2 M172. M172. Actually, these, yeah, the M172 is, yeah, okay, that's right. Okay, and the other tribes are Adam Sandler, Jerry Seinfeld, and Menachem Begin. They could be from any other tribe other than Judah, or they could be from Judah too, but I haven't been able to make that determination yet. So let me see if I can get this better. Well, so much for that. What am I doing here? How can I fix this, remedy this? Oh, I gotta go to this screen. Okay, so now we have now these things here. I don't know if this is actual. I told Grok to double check. Malcolm X is supposed to be J1, non-P58, of course. And Muhammad Ali is J1, non-58. Muhammad Ali, by the way, is my cousin, not too distant cousin. I think maybe, I don't know, 6 to 10 generations away or whatever. But yeah, Muhammad Ali is my cousin, blood cousin, because of course Muhammad Ali is not 100% Hamitic, and I don't know. I got to double check on this whether or not he's a J1, not necessarily P58. Malcolm X, the same thing. J1. Probably non-P58. Now, if it's non-P58, why don't you just tell me what it is? If it's another category, J1 category, just tell me what it is. Don't tell me it's non-P58. Anyways, that's grok for you. House of Saud members. I don't even know what this House of Saud is. J1, non-P58. Saladin, J1. In other words, these are basically non-Judaic or non-Israelite, probably or possibly Arabic. Saladin, Ian Butra, or Batuta. And this thing, I don't know why this thing doesn't give me such a hard time, but anyways. But then we got Mahatma Gandhi is Elamite, and Rabindranath Tagore, Elamite, also Elamite, which is pretty interesting because they're supposed to be from in India, which is where the H haplogroup is. Now, if I can only get this thing to scroll right. But it's not cooperating. But anyways, this is G. This is Asher. John Kerry, Edmund Rice. Asher. And this is Aramean. Hafez al-Assad. And, of course, these are inferred, but depending on how it's inferred, if it's inferred through relatives, fine. But if it's just guessing, that's not fine. But this is Aramean. These are our original Arameans, which the other one is the other Assad, which you can't see because I'm not, somehow the thing's not working. If I can get there and scroll, there it is. There it is. All right. So Bill Clinton, look at all the people that are Syrians. Bill Clinton, both Bill Clinton and John Kerry are descendants of Assyrians. So, you know, it might explain some of their positions or whatever. So we got Bashar al-Assad is Aramean, original Aramean. You know, if in fact this is determined by way of their relatives or something. Hafez al-Assad, same thing, Aramean inferred. Okay, then we got Lud. This is more towards India, or we got Abdul Kalam and Subhas Chandra Bose, FP14, which is, these are two different lineages. They're supposed to be two different lineages. So that's not too bad. Oh, no, it's not scrolling. Anyways, and now we get to the Eurasians, Japheth, M89G, because it retains the original allele G, but now it's M9G, which is unique only to Eurasians. So we got Napoleon Bonaparte is K, and K is Tubal. It's inferred, but I guess the best they can get. Charlemagne is K, inferred. Frederick the Great is KM9. Then we get Tubal. We got, look who's here. Look who shows up as Tubal. Vladimir Putin, KM231. Boris Yeltsin, KM231. Now, these are inferred for whatever reason, but I don't like it when they just give me something inferred. And Joseph Stalin's not supposed to be here. I swapped it in my copy and paste. I took this, I put it back with the Syrians. So Joseph Stalin is a Syrian. Well, that's interesting. So, and then we got Gandhi. Paternal line is LM20 inferred. But didn't we just see Mahatma Gandhi as somebody else? So I told Grok that he can't be two different lineages, but anyway, now it's not working again. I can put it back down like this. And like this. For whatever reason, when I zoom in, it doesn't work, I guess. That's what the problem is. So we got, it says Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi is somehow L for whatever reason, I don't know. Supposed to have been somebody else. Where's the other one? There's Mahatma Gandhi, supposed to be Elamite. Okay. So, and then we got T-Rise. T-Rise, of course, is the Thracians. and all it has is in dear God, but that's not very satisfactory. But then we got Javan. These are the Mediterranean descendants of Javan, which is Elisha, Dodanim, Kittim, and in the Mediterranean. So Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson is descended from the Mediterranean Sea people. Franklin D. Roosevelt also, I mean, if they're judging on his family, he's descended from one of the descendants of Javan, either Elisha, Dodanim, or Kittim, or Tarshish. Now we come to Magog. Magog, we got Nick Jonas, which is inferred. We got Meshach. I got Meshach, Genghis Khan, P40, M45, inferred. Kublai Khan, P M45, inferred. Timur, M45, inferred. And this is the interesting one here. I thought was interesting because everybody knows Johnny Cash, but did you know he's indigenous, American Indian? According to this haplogroup here, chances are that he's American Indian, paternally descended from American Indians, Johnny Cash, which if you look at him, you think, oh, yeah, okay. Maybe he was. But here's another one, Will Rogers, same thing. So a lot of our American history is from American Indians, believe it or not. And a lot of Americans are descended from American Indians, believe it or not. Maybe not closely related, but directly descended from, especially in history. Johnny Cash and Will Rogers, both probably descended from American Indians. So, Gomer, of course, Gomer is Eurasian descendant, the same as the Medes, Madai, same as Native Americans, except for the C paternal haplogroup, which is Nimrod. But we have Gomer here, who is, let's see, William the Conqueror, RM207, Otto von Bismarck, RM207. Then we got Ashkenaz. Who's descended from Ashkenaz? Larry Ellison, R1A, M247. Now, I don't really know who Larry Ellison is, but let's just suppose that Larry Ellison is Jewish. It's possible to be Jewish and to have a Eurasian haplogroup, or you could also have a the Assyrian haplogroup. So you can be Jewish and have the Assyrian haplogroup. You can be Assyrian and have the T haplogroup. I mean, you can be Jewish and have the T haplogroup. And you can have basically any haplogroup, but mostly it's the G, the T is, of course, the R1A, R1B, and the E of Egyptian. These are all possibilities, but they'll still be Jewish because their autosomal DNA is all descended from Jewish people or Israelite people. So we got Sergey Brin as R1A, Larry Page. Larry Page, here is R1A. And Togarma. Now, this is a surprise to me. You got Andrew Carnegie is R2. This R2 is way from India, or maybe it was in the area of Western Europe. I don't know. But both Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller are descended from Togarma. Direct paternal descendants of Togarma, which is, I don't know, pretty interesting to me. Now that's the end of the Eurasians. Now we're into the Hamitic lineages, and we got Barack Obama is EM2 inferred. Now I want to know if this is by way of his, well, supposed relatives, which we don't even know if he's Indonesian. He might be Indonesian, and nobody would know because, you know, complications or whatever, the records are sealed, nobody knows. So it's inferred. It's not necessarily true that he's descended from an Egyptian. Frederick Douglass, however, probably is inferred from his family. Of course, Frederick Douglass was an American president who was also black, apparently. Now we got Kush, of course. Desmond Tutu, BM1M60. Steve Biko, or Biko, M60. We got Thabo Mbeki, BM60. Then we got Cush's other sons, because Cush had a son, Nimrod, of course, but Cush also had many or number of other sons as well. Shaka Zulu is BM182. I guess that's a real person, I guess. I didn't even know if that was a real, I thought it was like a imaginary person made up by Hollywood or something, but I guess it's a real person. Shaka Zulu. BM182. Haile Selassie. Haile Selassie is BM182. If you know anything about history, which I don't know a whole lot about him, but I just know he's a historical figure. I guess Sudan or somewhere. It might be more than a lot of people know about him, I guess. But now we go to Put. We got Hannibal Baraka. I'd like to know who these people are. As a matter of fact, who's Hannibal Baraka? I'll look it up. Let me look this up. And we go here. See who this is. Okay. Who is Hannibal Barca, also known as Hannibal Barca? Okay, he was a Carthaginian general and statesman who commanded the forces of Carthage. Oh, that makes sense, because that is the original North Africans. The original North Africans are descendants of Put, at least Northwest Africans. But yeah, a Carthaginian general and statesman who commanded the forces of Carthage in their battle against Roman Republic during Second Punic War. Hannibal's father, Hamilcar Barca, was a leading Carthaginian statesman or hero, whatever. I don't know. So that's interesting. And that makes sense too. That makes a lot of sense because these are the original Phoenicians, which are the North Africans, which Josephus describes as being descendants of Put. That's where the name Phoenician came from, but it later turned into a Mediterranean Sea people and ended up being over on the other side, up north or whatever. So that's good. That's interesting there. Okay, we'll come back here. Where are we? Right here. Okay, so yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That is very interesting here because that's Put, which used to be the A lineage, AM31. So somehow I guess that's inferred, but I don't know. I'd like to get more information on these inferred things. And then you got the Assamite king Enzana. Well, let's look that up because that's an A descendant of Put as well. So let's go here. We'll go here. Enzana of Aksum. Okay. Enzana. Oh, Izanza. A little bit dyslexia. Izanza. Ancient Greek was a ruler of the kingdom of Aksums. One of the best documented ruler of Aksum, Izana. Izana is important as he's the first adopted for whatever. But that's interesting. No, that's Greek. That's very interesting. So Assamite king Izana. There's a lot of history we don't know about, I guess. So there it is. Yeah. So that's interesting. But that's inferred, but I'd like to know if it's a direct relationship by way of family history or not, which would take a lot of discovery, a lot of study. So there's a lot of things we don't know, I guess. Now we go to Canaan. We got Emperor Jimmu. Emperor Jimmu, that's probably in Asia. Qin Shi Huang, that's in Asia. And Toyotomi Hideyoshi, is a D haplogroup, probably by way of his family. Now we got more of Canaan's sons. King Hiram is a DM15. Now this is interesting here. Let me check this King Hiram. King Hiram. Let me look this up here. Hiram 1. Wow, look at this. Hiram 1 was a Phoenician king of Tyre who reigned from approximately 9800, 980 to 947 BC, and is known for his alliances with Israelite kings David and Solomon, particularly the construction of the temple in Jerusalem. So, he was a Canaanite. King Hiram was a Canaanite. I don't know if it's inferred or if they got direct DNA evidence. It's inferred. Somehow, for some reason, they think it's DM15, which is a Canaanite. He's a Canaanite. One of the sons of Canaan, DM15, which is in Tyre, king of Tyre. Wow. That's very interesting. See? Now, if in fact this is valid information here, that is very interesting, because that is an original Canaanite king. So then we got the sons of Sin. We know who they are. Sinim, tribe of Sinim, Japanese Emperor Hirohito. That's D subclade. Tibetan Dalai Lama is a D subclade. Inferred. Now, I hope it's inferred by way of his family. That's very interesting. Now we come to the last but not the very least. And what do we find out? Let's see if we can get this whole thing here. Well, we got Du Bois, EM35, but check this out. We got Albert Einstein is an EM35, descendant of Mitzrayim. So Albert Einstein is paternally descended from Egyptians, but of course he's Jewish, because his autosomal DNA is all Jewish. But he does have a paternal descendant from Egypt. And another one, lo and behold, Lyndon B. Johnson is E35. And I heard a lot of, things about Lyndon B. Johnson, but EM35, yeah. Martin Luther King is also an EM35, Martin Luther King Jr. And that means he's descendant of Mitzrayim, one of the sons of Mitzrayim, which of course spread out all over. But EM35 is a Hamitic lineage, which Einstein, Lyndon B. Johnson, and Martin Luther King Jr. share. And Du Bois also has EM35. So a lot of people didn't know that. I didn't know about it until I found out about it. And we also have Nelson Mandela M2 and Malcolm X M2 inferred. So there you have it. That's a lot of interesting information. I think it's very, very interesting. J2 M172 only, Theodor Herzl, David Sarnoff, Louis B. Meir, Albert Sabin, Bernie Sanders, Dustin Hoffman. All descendants of Judah, and probably descend from King David too. As a matter of fact, you can't really be Jewish and not be descended from David and Solomon. If you know anything about genetics and the house of David. The house of David is similar to the house of Nimrod, because that's why the Israelites wanted a king because they wanted a king like Nimrod, which entails having lots and lots of sons, male sons, and female as well. But yeah, that's why there's all these people, direct descendants of King David, which I am too probably, but not nearly as much as they are. Okay. This is non-M172. Adam Sandler, Jerry Seinfeld, Menachem Begin. And we got, well, Muhammad, but you don't know that. Grok doesn't know that. Muhammad was probably definitely not Jewish or anything like that. Okay. Okay, Shem, we got, no. He is not a Levite tie. He is definitely not Aaronic or Levitic. That's just nonsense. Grok is tripping. He's having hallucinations. Gandhi is Elamite. Clinton is Assyrian. Napoleon, Genghis Khan, these are all Eurasians. Mandela, Einstein, Hirohito are Hamitic descendants, paternally descended from Ham. Edison, Darwin, I don't know, that's just IJK. IJK is everybody. I mean, that, what was it, L15 or whatever it was, that everybody has that marker. Okay, Judah. That's good. That's about it. Anyways, let's see if anybody got any comments, suggestions, questions, criticisms. Let's see what's going on here. If we got anything, probably, maybe not. Oh, we got David. Hello, David. David is pretty faithful. There's Dana as well. So here's Doki too. We got Doki. And good morning. Here are Pakistani YDNAs. Let me see. Let me see. Go a minute. Both Uyghur and Pakistani. Okay. J2A 410, M102, M172. As I was saying, M172 is almost definitely a descendant of David and Solomon, both of which had many male offspring, which is the reason for the size of the M172 in the Judaic population. Okay, so, yeah, but there are a lot of different J2 haplogroups, which could be other Israelite tribes as well. But this J2 M172, that's definitely Judaic and probably Davidic, is my guess. But, I have to check it out because there's two groups of M172 too. One is probably David, the other one's probably Solomon. Okay. J2 frequencies, Uyghur populations, frequency. Oh, yeah, I was supposed to do a study on J2 that David wanted me to do. And subclades vary among different Uyghur subpopulations. Okay, J2 frequencies. 34% of Uyghur sample carried J2M172, which is a huge, huge percentage today. I mean, that's why they actually look kind of Jewish if you look at the Uyghurs. So, and they're a discriminated population too. They're being discriminated against, and of course they're discriminated, but they're a Muslim population. But of course, if they ever found out that they were descended from King David, they would probably change their mind about that. That's what I'm, thinking about. That's what I'm thinking of. So, a 2018 study reported more specific subclinic frequencies for different villages. Lop Uyghurs, Yuli County. See that? Now that's a big percentage there. 43.75 J2A1 and 14% J2A2 Kirian Uyghurs. Yushin County, 25%, 25.64% J2A1B1. Yeah, which could be different tribes of Israel. Which, that would be a huge study. Dolan Uyghurs, Awat County, 3.9% J2A1 and 3.9% J2A2. Well, that's right. This is amazing stuff. And we can trace these lineages. We can actually trace every male lineage. We can trace back to the originator, one of the 16 grandsons of Noah, and every maternal lineage we can trace back to at least whether it's Semitic, Eurasian, or Hamitic. Please break down between Pakistanis and Uyghurs J2 lineages, the difference between two. I assume different roots of J2, Pakistanis and Uyghurs. Yeah, well, it would be a different lineage of J2, but if it's M172, they have a common ancestor. It's probably King David of the House of David, but it would be two different lineages for sure. I mean, it would be split. Yeah, it'd be the Pakistani lineage and the Uyghur and China lineage. To me, I think, it would help solve a lot of these problems that we have in the world if people knew who they were descended from. So somehow this thing's not working, or guess now it is. Anyways, I guess that's good for right now. It was a fun live stream, at least for me. So everybody have a great week this week, and just be blessed by God, because I don't know, there's just so many blessings when you study and learn and know the truth. God bless everybody. Take care.